Every year, more than 7 million tons of chocolate are enjoyed around the world. That's millions of bars disappearing every single day. From desserts to celebrations, it's one of the few treats that connects people everywhere. Whether it's melted in a cake, wrapped in a bar, or blended into a drink, chocolate never seems to lose its charm. It's rich, comforting, and instantly recognizable. Yet, behind that smooth sweetness lies one of the most detailed production journeys in the food industry, one that stretches from tropical farms to high-tech factories, and that's exactly what we will be covering in today's video. How bitter cocoa beans grown near the equator turn into the creamy delight loved across the planet. Without further ado, let's get started. Long before chocolate bars filled supermarket shelves, cacao was treasured by ancient civilizations. Thousands of years ago, the Maya and Aztecs in Central America used cacao beans not for candy, but as currency, and in sacred rituals they prepared it as a thick drink, often mixed with spices and chili. Seen as a symbol of strength and divinity, when Spanish explorers arrived in the 16th century, they carried cacao back to Europe, where sugar and milk transformed it into a sweeter, smoother version enjoyed by the upper class. Over time, chocolate moved from royal courts to factories thanks to major breakthroughs like the Dutch cocoa process in 1828, which made it easier to grind and mix, and the invention of conching in 1879, which gave chocolate its silky texture. These discoveries turned chocolate from a rare luxury into an everyday treat, spreading its popularity across the world. What began as a bitter drink for kings evolved into the global delight we know today, and its journey was just getting started. So you might wonder, where does the journey of this sweet thing start? Well, every bar of chocolate begins in the shade of tropical forests. The cacao tree, known scientifically as Theobroma cacao, grows only in warm, humid regions near the equator. Most of the world's cocoa supply comes from West Africa, where countries like Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana produce nearly 70% of all cocoa beans. These trees thrive in temperatures around 25 degrees Celsius with constant moisture and protection from direct sunlight. They're delicate plants, so farmers often grow them under taller trees that shield them from harsh heat. Each cacao tree produces colorful pods that grow directly from its trunk and branches, a unique trait in the plant world. Inside every pod are about 20 to 40 beans surrounded by a soft white pulp. These small seeds are the raw start of every chocolate recipe on Earth. From here, the journey becomes more hands-on as skilled farmers step in to harvest and extract the beans that will eventually shape the world's favorite treats. But before we get into that, please leave a like and subscribe for more amazing videos like this one. Now, moving on. When the colorful pods on the cacao trees reach full maturity, it's time for farmers to begin one of the most important stages, the harvest. Timing is everything. The pods don't all ripen at once, so farmers move carefully through the plantations, identifying the ones that have reached the perfect stage. Using sharp machetes or small knives attached to long poles, they cut each pod by hand. This prevents damage to the trees, which can continue producing for decades if handled with care. Once gathered, the pods are opened one by one. Inside lies the treasure of the cacao tree. Rows of beans covered in a soft, sticky white pulp. The beans are gently scooped out and collected in baskets or wooden containers. Each pod can yield between 20 and 40 beans depending on its size and quality. The remaining husks are discarded or used as compost to enrich the soil. Farmers then sort through the beans, removing any that are cracked or discolored. The healthy ones are kept for the next stage, fermentation. This stage is where the true flavor of chocolate starts to develop. The freshly extracted beans, still coated in their sweet pulp, are placed in wooden boxes or large heaps and covered with banana leaves. The natural sugars in the pulp begin to break down, creating heat and triggering chemical changes that are essential for flavor and aroma. Fermentation usually lasts between 5 to 7 days. During this time, microbes work on the beans in 2 phases. First comes ethanol fermentation, where yeasts grow and create alcohol in the absence of oxygen. Then, as the beans are stirred and exposed to air, acetic acid fermentation takes over. This second phase gives the beans their deep color and lays the foundation for the chocolate taste we all recognize. Throughout the process, farmers monitor temperature and moisture carefully. If fermentation goes too long or too short, the flavor balance can be lost. When done correctly, the beans turn from pale and sticky to brown and fragrant. They're now ready for the next crucial step. This is an essential process that prevents mold and helps preserve flavor. Farmers spread the beans in thin layers across wide wooden decks or raised mats, letting them dry slowly under natural sunlight. The beans are stirred several times a day to ensure even drying, allowing air to reach every side. This process can take up to a week, depending on the weather and humidity. During this time, the beans gradually turn a deep brown color as their aroma strengthens, and the goal is to bring the moisture level down to around 7%. Any higher, and the beans risk spoiling during transport. Any lower, and they can become brittle and lose quality. Once fully dried, the beans are sorted again to remove impurities such as stones, leaves, or broken shells. Finally, the clean, dry beans are packed into large jute sacks. Each bag weighs around 60 kilograms and is labeled according to its origin and quality. These sacks are then loaded onto trucks and shipped to ports, where they begin their long journey to chocolate factories around the world. From here, the real transformation into chocolate begins. When the cocoa beans reach the factory, their journey begins with a careful inspection to make sure only the best are used. Quality control teams check every batch for size, color, and aroma, ensuring the beans are dry, free from mold, and meet factory standards. Those that pass are sent for cleaning, while any defective ones are removed. This step is crucial. The flavor of the final chocolate depends heavily on the condition of these raw beans. Inside the factory, the cleaning system uses a combination of screens, magnets, and air filters to remove stones, dust, and small pieces of debris that might have come from transport. Once cleaned, the beans are lightly heated in a revolving drum to loosen their outer shells. They're then stored in labeled containers, often organized by origin, to help manufacturers maintain consistent flavor profiles when blending different types later on. The next step is winnowing, the process that separates the valuable cocoa nibs from their shells. Machines gently crack the beans, and air tunnels blow away the lighter husks while the heavier nibs fall through. These nibs are rich in cocoa butter and solids, the foundation of every chocolate recipe. The discarded shells are often recycled as compost or animal feed, ensuring nothing goes to waste. What remains are pure, flavorful nibs, now ready for the next steps. This happens through roasting, one of the most important steps in the entire process. The nibs are placed in large gas-heated drums that spin slowly to roast them evenly. Temperature and timing are carefully controlled, usually between 120 and 150 degrees Celsius, to ensure the beans develop the deep, rich aroma we associate with chocolate. Roasting also reduces moisture and helps loosen any remaining bits of shell. And as the heat works through the nibs, their color darkens and their scent fills the air. The natural flavors inside start to change, becoming smoother and more balanced. Once the roasting is complete, the nibs are cooled and ready for blending. Blending is where each chocolate maker adds their signature touch. Nibs from different regions are mixed together to achieve a specific flavor profile, some fruity, some nutty, others more intense. Then, ingredients like cocoa butter, sugar, milk powder, or vanilla are added depending on the type of chocolate being made. After blending, the mixture is thick and grainy, so it needs to be refined into the smooth texture we associate with chocolate. This process begins with grinding. The roasted nibs and added ingredients are crushed using heavy rollers until they form a thick paste known as chocolate liquor. Despite the name, it contains no alcohol. It's a mix of cocoa solids and cocoa butter. The next step is refining, which takes this rough paste and makes it silky. The chocolate passes through a series of large steel rollers, often 5 in total, that steadily reduce the particle size to less than 20 microns. That's smaller than the width of a human hair. This gives the chocolate its melt-in-the-mouth texture and removes any trace of graininess. During refining, the chocolate mass also begins to release more of its natural cocoa butter, giving it a rich and creamy consistency. The process demands precision. By the time this step is complete, the chocolate has become smooth, velvety, and ready for the next steps. Now, to bring out its full character, it enters a stage known as conching. The thick mixture is placed in large machines called conches, where it's continuously mixed, kneaded, and aerated for hours, sometimes even days. This constant movement generates gentle heat through friction, helping the chocolate develop a glossy, fluid texture. During this process, excess moisture and acidity evaporate, while the rich cocoa aromas become more defined. Every tiny particle of sugar and cocoa gets evenly coated with cocoa butter, creating that silky texture that melts perfectly on the tongue. Manufacturers can also adjust the consistency by adding extra cocoa butter at this stage, thicker for bars, lighter for coatings or fillings. By the time conching is complete, the transformation is remarkable. The rough paste has turned into a smooth, aromatic liquid ready for its final form. That final transformation happens through tempering and molding. The chocolate is carefully heated and cooled in controlled cycles, allowing the cocoa butter crystals to stabilize. This gives the finished chocolate its glossy shine and crisp snap. Once tempered, it's poured into molds that vibrate gently to release air bubbles, then cooled until solid. When the bars are released, they carry that familiar sheen and texture, a perfect balance of science, precision, and craftsmanship that defines real chocolate. Once the chocolate is tempered and molded, many factories take things a step further by creating filled and flavored varieties. This is where craftsmanship meets creativity. The process starts with preparing the fillings. Smooth caramel made by boiling sugar and water, nut pastes from finely ground hazelnuts or almonds, or creamy ganache made by blending chocolate with cream or fruit purees. Each filling has its own texture and flavor designed to complement the outer chocolate shell. The tempered chocolate is poured into molds and rotated to coat the sides evenly, forming a thin shell. Once the shell sets, it's filled with the chosen praline mixture. The filling must be added at just the right temperature, warm enough to flow smoothly but cool enough not to melt the shell. When the filling settles, another layer of chocolate is poured on top to seal it completely. After cooling, the pralines or bonbons are removed from their molds and polished for a flawless shine. The goal is balance, the crisp chocolate exterior meeting a soft, flavorful center. Every factory develops its own recipes, and this is where the artistry of chocolate making truly shines, blending precision, flavor, and presentation in every piece. After the fillings are made, the next stage focuses on presentation. This is where chocolates get their final touch, the coating and decoration that make them stand out. Each piece is passed through an enrobing machine where a smooth curtain of liquid chocolate flows over the top, coating it evenly from edge to edge. The thickness of this layer is carefully controlled to keep the balance between the outer shell and the filling inside. Once coated, the chocolates travel along cooling conveyors to set firmly. When the surface begins to solidify, decorators step in. Using tools like piping nozzles, spatulas, or even special rollers, they add delicate patterns, stripes, or contrasting colors made from white or dark chocolate. Some pieces are finished with finely chopped nuts, cocoa powder, or edible metallic dust for a more refined appearance. Every detail matters, from the swirl on top to the shine of the coating. These finishing touches are more than decoration. They tell a story of craftsmanship and care. By this stage, each chocolate is not only delicious, but also visually ready to take its place among the premium treats waiting for packaging. Now, packaging is what keeps chocolate fresh, safe, and ready for transport. In modern factories, this process is highly automated. Conveyor belts carry each piece of chocolate toward wrapping machines that use thin layers of foil or laminated film to seal in the aroma and prevent moisture from reaching the surface. After wrapping, the chocolates are placed into boxes or cartons according to their type or brand design. Some are arranged in molded trays to prevent them from moving, while others are stacked in bars or multi-packs for retail shelves. Every box is labeled with details like ingredients, batch number, and expiration date to meet quality and safety standards. Once packed, the cartons are sealed and organized into larger shipments. These boxes are stored in temperature-controlled warehouses to prevent melting before being transported to distributors, supermarkets, and specialty shops around the world. From careful wrapping to the final delivery, packaging ensures the chocolate reaches consumers in perfect condition, just as smooth, glossy, and flavorful as it was when it left the factory floor. And that's it. Quite a fascinating process, right? Now to you, which part of the process surprised you the most? The farming in tropical forests or the high-tech factory machines? Comment down below. Leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos like this one.